Hey, welcome to the Runaways podcast. My name is Cody. We are back for another week, and we're just changing it up every week. Who's on the podcast? We got Fino, Dan, myself. We're doing three people only again. Lucas is flying out of the country right now to go play in Auckland. So a little jealous there for that. And then Noah, I don't know what happened to Noah. He just said, "Hey, I can't make this podcast." So I guess he gets a break. He's been one of the people who's like almost never missed. So I guess we can give him this one. But we do have a lot to talk about today. I mean, technically, there's like exciting stuff happening. There's the Auckland calling, which is pretty cool if you get to go. And then we do have a new set that is literally dropping this week in like a couple of days that no one cares about.
I don't know that I care about it. Mastery Pack Gravy, I'm down.
I'm
Yeah,
excited
I mean,
to crack
that's
shuffle
true.
play at least.
Yeah, I said that a little facetiously. I actually think this set's probably better than people are giving it credit for. After like very lightly toying with like Volda and Victor with some of the new cards and stuff, there's some stuff there. Like it's not as bad as people actually are making it out to be as dooming. So
It's just not exciting.
it's not exciting. No. I guess that's fair. It's like it's not flashy, but it's like upgrades that they kind of need. None of the decks, I guess, it comes out for it are that flashy. Volda's a little flashy with like the draw and stuff. But like the mill
I think
aspect and some other aspects are kind of cool.
I think part of the problem too is like the Guardians that got kind of left behind don't feel like they got anything. Like so far, I don't know if we have the entire spoiler out yet. Last I looked, we didn't. I don't know if that's changed, but like we don't. There's no like Betsy specialization or like Betsy specific cards in the set that like really flesh out that hero. I'm sure there's some number of people
Well,
out there disappointed about these types of things. I'm not one of these people. You'll never catch me playing a guardian. I could care less, but I can at least empathize with these people. I've been there. I've gotten the reimagination of my hero and it not being what I wanted it to be. I understand your pain.
true. I mean, I don't think Betsy's a real hero at this point anyway, so I guess that makes sense. But I don't know. I think there's something there, and for it's like can't beat gravy. It it can probably beat a lot of gravies. Maybe not the top end, the high end, the good gravies, but that's not most people, and it won't be most people. But we can get into that maybe the next topic. But it's I think it's pretty good. I think overall I'm going to pick up some boxes of the set. Um, LSS is probably happy to hear that, but I think not just for the gravy cards. I'm gonna actually want some of the actual Guardian stuff. I don't know, Dan. You've looked at least at the set a little bit and seen some of our guys play in it. What do you think?
No, I kind of agree with your takes. I think it's actually like pretty impactful. Lets you like opens up some different builds for existing heroes. Victor, I guess Valdo was technically existing, but she's still new. And like Valdo does some crazy splashy stuff when like you draw the cards in the right order. You make like 6 seismics, you pulverize for 1 card off Tunic or something. I don't know. Yeah, there's some cool stuff going on. I think the legendary aura alone gives Bravo like a big buff. Um,
That card's sick.
Yeah, I think it just like gives it more of an identity. It's like actual just Ring of Roses in that deck. Yeah, it's cool stuff. I'm excited to crack Shuffle play, as I said. See if it's a bit better than Bright Lights. I had fun the couple games I played, but I didn't want to play more games. I'll say that. Having half your deck be no blocks is not it.
I guess that's fair. I don't know. I think while we might not see some exploration of it right away, I think there'll be some dividends from this set that people don't expect.
Yeah, a lot of cool cards.
Ironically, the best card in Bright Lights was also an illusionist card.
It's all coming for full circle.
The
Yep.
Tome of Imperial Flames for non knowers watching this.
Cool. Anything else on the mastery pack?
I think all the generics are pretty spicy, actually. Like, even though like block one, that's like maybe not that good, could be potentially really good later.
Boots are sick.
Boots are sick.
Boots are cool.
Yeah, they're all like
the gravy cards are good.
Yeah.
Until hopefully it gets eroded. There's a small hope. No. The gravy card, the -1, which I'm sure we're going to complain about shortly.
Fearless Confrontation. I wrote it down.
Small chance that gets eroded and doesn't work the cringe way that it does.
I don't know. I mean, I've been playing it in gravy. It's okay. Sometimes it's like wins the game. It really feels like I'm playing
That makes
Ripple
it even
Away,
worse,
and
though.
that does make it worse because it feels like I'm playing Ripple Away in the mirror, where like sometimes it just like you're playing a Draw My Mirror and the Ripple Away is just a brick card, and sometimes it wins you the game. And that's how it feels like every game I'm playing. I'm just like, I draw the card and I go, huh, nope, doesn't do anything here. That's fine. It's just like a blue. Sometimes you just swing it and you're like, it's kind of nice to have like a 5-power attack. You're just like, that's kind of cool. Like that's actually like relevant now to like new lines in the deck. But sometimes you blow them out. Sometimes they get an extra card. I haven't had the moment where it's just like wins the game on the spot, but I've also been testing against more resilient decks than just like Slippy or something, right?
It also does get some incidental value of them just like having to sequence differently when they know they get blown out by it. So you just like pick up
this
points
is the issue.
I mean,
But you also
okay. Here's my issue. I'm not a fan of hand traps in this game. I accept they exist. Can we stop making all the hand traps blue block 3s though? Like the actual no cost to inclusion hand traps. I'm not down for this. Like make it a red 2 block or something. It's the exact same complaint people had about Warmongers, but now we made it instant speed. What are we doing?
I think Warmongers is worse, but I do agree that I think they just want you to play them. Like I think they're just exciting to be played. So
this isn't.
who's going to pay $50 for this card if it doesn't block 3?
Yeah,
I mean that's another problem why we forcing the game to be super expensive when we're having an issue with that. But that's a separate. I think the game needs randomness to be a good game. I had like a good tangent about this on stream last night or the night before, talking about Donkey Space as a design space and how Flesh and Blood during kind of that heavy hitters era was really turning into a closer to pure solution game where you could really map out games ahead of time and games just kind of played out the same a lot of the time. Whoever had the better game plan would typically win and games just kind of played on repeat. And then we saw them starting to add a lot more randomness from that point forward to kind of mix up games and not make them feel the same every time. I think that's a good thing. I'm not saying that we need less of that, but this isn't the type of randomness I want in the game. The like, oh, you randomly had it in your hand, and I had no way of knowing that you had that. There's no tell. It's just it's in your 4 cards that you drew this turn. Oops, I have it.
I don't mind it too much. I feel like Snag is like a good implementation of this. Like when I'm playing Assassin and I cast my bonds with like only attack reactions, like just a Nick +3/+3. It's like kind of hype. Like it's like this is my only out. I'm like down. If they don't have it, I win. If they do, I lose. Like it's kind of exciting.
I mean, Snag doesn't block though, so at least
that's what I'm saying. Like Snag has significant downsides. Like I think Snag is a terrible card, and I don't play it in my decks, even if it is good in the meta right now. I think the drawback is just too high on it.
Yeah, like I said, I accept these cards existing in the game. Make there be a drawback to them existing in my deck. Don't let me free roll this.
No, this card is just on above rate everywhere. Like, I guess what Raging Onslaught is a blue 5 attack block 3. So you give that text. It's probably the only card with those stats that has text, and it's like the most broken text in the game in the context of Gravy Bones. Cool.
Yeah, there's every game there are moments when I'm playing, especially like mirrors and stuff, where it's like, oh, they have it here. I just probably lose, and then I'm like, I hope you don't have it. You just play the card, and then they're like, nope. Okay, thank God. Like, but eventually, it's not always going to be that. It's going to be they're going to be like, boop. You go, oh no.
You attack and you're like, please.
There's already so little counterplay to like efficiently clearing allies. You just like have to be a deck that has head jabs in different numbers or get lucky, and now it's like you also need to get lucky and not get unlucky.
It also
just to kill an ally. Like
it also has other text. It helps you with the counterplay of people playing dominated to batter a pulp into you. Like that has actually come up for me in a couple games. Just I can actually block this now.
They took a look at this class that needed help guardian, and then they printed the counter to this class, and then they printed the counter to the counter to the counter. Like, what are we doing?
It's really funny because it's been actively like outside of just the ability printed on it, it just being a 3-cost 5 attack has been like really relevant in the mirror. Like it's like
that seems great.
It's like a lot of turns where you're just like, I'm not gonna play a dude this turn. I'm gonna just hit you with this. I'm gonna put the 3 for 5 into your guy and then just be like, you don't have a dude to kill now. You gonna go face? Because I'm at like 35. This damage doesn't matter. You're just gonna waste resources into me? Like, what are you gonna do?
And you let me use my sunken treasures.
Yep.
It's
and
like,
so it's like it's trappy on both sides.
yeah, it's like Winter Grasp and Icelander playing against Dromai. Like that card was insane.
Yep.
At least with like Blizzard, like in my mind, that was like the original hand trap. I can't think of an older hand trap than that. There was counter.
I think Snag was actually,
but it's just like functionally defense reaction, right?
Agreed.
The well, with Blizzard, there is counterplay to that. You can just play a time snap potion or something, or oh, you're gonna Blizzard. I'm just gonna not give it go again and then pump over or something like that, or like maybe I'll play some sigils. Like I have ways to map my turn around this that I don't get blown out, and I know that you play this card, and I'm just gonna want to include this blue in my deck anyways and time snap. So there's plenty of counterplay to that.
I guess the argument here is it's lunging press. Every deck can play it. It's a 1-to-1 counter. Ignoring the dominate clause.
Except for the lunging press when you have it in your hand doesn't also deal 5 damage.
Yeah, one of these cards is hyper efficient. The other is terrible.
It would be like a lunging press. It'd be a 3 for 5 that just said like discard this, give an attack +1. And you'd be oh, okay. Okay. I think we've talked about the card. I will say this: it's not like it existing is bad. Is actively bad. It's not been as crazy when I've been playing it, but that's because you're trying to play around it, right? Like you're like throwing the extra thing. You have a backup plan. You're like, well, if they play it on this, then I can play this instead. So like you are thinking about it, and that is making probably a big difference. But I don't know. It's going to be every deck that could get it. Yeah.
Like the counterplay is not interesting, and if you do counterplay it, you're rewarded by your opponent pitching their blue like they plan to anyway,
or just blocking with it because it still blocks for 3.
Yeah,
yeah, or tipple swing with it. Oh,
yeah, it feels like counter blessings all over again. Like, why did you possibly make this card?
Mm-hmm. It's also like really limiting to future design space. Like this existing, it is really limiting to any other ally-based thing they ever make again. Ironically, I wish it was a red, so it would be slightly better in Dromai for a living legend. That's one of the weird things with it. No matter what color you made it, it's like kind of weird in one of the allies. It's like not that great technically in the other two. Like it's definitely better in Gravy by how the games play out. But still, that's kind of funny. They kind of painted themselves in a corner. They literally have an ally class in every color now.
Well, I think we can go to our main topic then, because we've already kind of been there. The problem with Gravy. Yes, we will be talking about Gravy even more because it is the whole game right now. It's just Flesh and Blood Gravy Edition is like currently what we're playing, which is something I want to talk about. But I want to phrase this a little differently. Normally we talk about like all the impacts in the meta and if it's a fun deck to play against and how it impacts things, and we can get to that. But I think my suspicion, I think we might end up with the first deck in a very long time whose play rate is just astronomically high. Like everywhere I go, everything I go to, and locals, anything, and everyone I talk to, they're all playing Gravy. It's just like the most played deck everywhere I go. My locals is 50% Gravy. I said I went to that 2.5K just a couple of weeks ago. It was legitimately 50% Gravy players in the room. There was 50 people, like 25 of them were playing Gravy, which is like astronomical. There's a chance that we go to KC and it's like 40% Gravy. Like no joke. Like this could be a real percentage at like a tournament. This is not something that Flesh and Blood ever has happened. I mean, I'm playing Gravy. I'm going there. I'm going to be one of them sitting in the group there. But what do we think about this like option that we might be running into like the first like really tier 0 format, not necessarily power level, but like representation of a deck level? Or do you think I'm wrong?
I don't know if that's going to be the case, but also
callings are tough.
I think we might.
If it was a Pro Tour.
Yeah, we might run into like the Aurora thing where it's like the play rate is here, but then the conversion rate is lower, and the data doesn't show that it should actually be played at that rate.
Yeah,
the Gravy data is crazy. It's like 45% publicly on like those sites. But I don't believe in this. But no, I think at a Pro Tour it would be like 40-50% play rate right now.
I don't know, man. Everyone I talk to is playing this deck.
I
don't know how
disagree.
It is in your area. Like
we actually had 0 on Monday. No one plays it in my Monday Armory. There were quite a
Wow.
few. I Gilded though. I went to Gilded Raven on Saturday.
I think I'm either the only one or there's one other person that plays Gravy at my army. There's one other person, but he's like between two decks. He's not sure he wants to play.
Okay, so I do think it's possible that we see really high play rate of the deck, just because from the people I've talked to and see on a regular basis, it feels very high. And I think I have a suspicion of why this might be the case. Besides the fact that the deck is powerful or fun to play, it's safe to play. And what I mean by that is like it would already have like 600 something points in LL if the LL system hadn't been adjusted. But you look at this thing and you know this deck is going to be around for a while. Like it has like almost no points. It can't collect points in a reasonable amount for a while. And if it was like normal, it'd be like 600. You'd be like, oh man, it's like, that's actually pretty, that's pretty bad. Like the deck is going to probably rotate out in the next 6 months or whatever.
You brought that up on a podcast a while ago, and that was like one of the selling points for me learning the deck.
Yeah. And I don't think you're the only one. Like I talked to so many people who are just going to be playing Gravy, and because it's a very safe pick. It's very powerful. It's fun to play, and it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, if it had 600, people would start bailing now, I think. Like start selling out and moving on to the next deck.
Oh
That's
man,
like
can you
playable at
imagine?
Worlds.
Can you imagine if I had like 600 points right now?
I
I'd
can.
be like, well, I'm
I
not
would
putting
not be
in
surprised at all.
the months to learn this.
Yeah. But
because that's the other thing. Like this deck is so hard that it's going to take a long time to learn it. And it's like, are you going to sink in all that time for like maybe one event? And I say maybe because like by the time that, like in my case, Worlds is the next time I'm planning on like actually playing in something, and that's what 3 months away or something like that.
Yeah.
If this was maybe rotating right after Worlds, and I'm not even 100% sure that I'm playing it at that event, would it be worth me putting in months learning this deck? Maybe not. That's just kind of a waste of my time. I should just go play something else like Slippy, right?
And it's probably worth it for Worlds. That prize pool is kind of insane.
Sure.
We already know it.
But that's like the exception, I think. No, if Casey was a Pro Tour, I'd be playing Gravy Bones. That's why I was kind of making that calling comment. Like I'm only playing Mario because it's a calling.
Press X to doubt. I doubt very hard.
I don't know, man. I can't ride solo for a world championship. If anyone else on the team was on board, maybe I'd stick to Mario.
Say the line, Dan.
Dude, I got a good build cooked up.
I don't know. Look, the reason I bring this up is because like a couple of days ago, Dan, you were like, I'm playing Gravy at KC. And I was like, okay, if Dan is switching to, everyone is playing this deck. Like it's just legitimately everybody.
Yeah. It's just so broken. Like, can I do my quick rant now?
Yeah, go ahead.
And explain why? Like, I was just playing a couple of test games with my buddy, Jared. And like, I already knew that Gravy did broken things, but just every turn is like more broken than the last rather. So my current take is that LSS sat down, they took a look at every design mistake they made since Monarch, looked at it real good, and like, let's shove it all into one deck and then ship it. And that's how we got Gravy Bones. So I wrote down some comparisons. This deck has Belittle and Swell. It has Arclight Sentinel and Chum, but it's one card less to play. It attacks for free. It's harder to deal with. You have Ancestral Harmony and Swell and Chart the High Seas. You have Permanence, but they don't have Phantasm, so you like have to clear them. You have CNC for 8 with Go again. Like Fino's joked about this already. How did that card get printed? And then you have Kasaya.
Reasonable card.
Yeah. And then you have Kasaya, except it's better because you get the resource every turn instead of when you transcend. And then finally, we had the book banning, right? Because decks were like drawing a couple too many cards, which was out of line with how the game was designed. And they gave Gravy Bones the most easy gold access in the game. He's drawing like 6 cards some turns. I don't understand how. Like, we've seen all of these mistakes before in like the most annoying to play against decks in different formats. And now this deck just has every single piece in one.
And he's trying to cast his blue cards. He's got the MST
Correct.
Thing of like all my good cards are the blues.
But I don't perceive that as a mistake. I think that's just what it takes to be a powerful deck in this game. It's like that, or you have to play off of like no pitch. But I'm with you there. So we got all that, right? We took all these, in my opinion, design mistakes since Monarch, like annoying things to play against, shoved it all into one place, and then we said that's not good enough. What if you can't even kill the allies when you try to? And then we got fearless confrontation. Like, I don't know. I'm like memeing a little bit, but I think those comparisons are like really valid. So I'm just a little confused as to how we got here. But I understand the play rate as a result. Like, why would you not want to do all this stuff? You can draw 2 extra cards every turn. If you want to be loose with your gold, you can high roll and hit 2 action points off your swell and 5 resources. Like, yeah, sign me up.
The funny part is, like, while the deck does require like a lot of skill to play at the highest level, it actually removed a lot of the skill from the fatigue matches because you're just like a ball of damage deck. You just have like big turns of balls of damage that leak, and you just keep leaking with all of these like balls of damage turns, and then like your allies do some damage. But it's not like when I play Dromai and we're like working on the Levia matchup. That's like a very complicated matchup to play as Dromai. Like, and you got to set up the board. You can only do it with the Chromais. You got to put the Chromais back in your deck and then set up the second cycle, and you got to put the dust in there, and then you have like 2 turns to deal damage in the entire game. And if those 2 damage turns get through, then you probably win. But it takes an entire game to set those up, and then that whole time you have to like decide if your opponent's trying to kill you or not, or if they're just trying to get the things off the board and manage both of these states. This is like infinitely more complicated how to play the fatigue than with Gravy. You're just like, well, what if I just have
prismatic.
like 4? Yeah,
me play prismatic, me Ooga Booga.
Yeah. What if I just have 4 20 damage turns and then I just kind of finish off with some go again dudes, and you're like, yeah, that'll work. So I think that's like my issue with Gravy. You're not really playing against like a board control deck currently right now. Like, you're not, like, you have to deal with allies, like that exists. That's part of it. But dealing with the allies is not enough. Like, you either have to take no damage, which is pretty hard because they're pushing over a damage threshold of what most hands can block, or you have to stop them from playing a 5-card hand while you clear the dudes. So you have to do one of those 2 things. That's why just like block out, kill the thing isn't like strong enough against most decks that just play ley line. You like put a ley line in your deck, and you're just like good enough.
But also on those big leak damage turns, you have to keep cards to clear back. You can't just
Correct.
like block out and then not clear. So you're keeping minimum 1 card every turn to try to clear. So you have to leak even more damage.
Yep, and that's the issue. So even the decks that are good into Gravy, that's their main issue. Is they have to. Gravy is just doing a ball of damage and leaving something on the table afterwards, and that's like the real strength of it. And it's like you have to be able to either stop them from doing the ball to you, so assassin, or something that has some control, or blow up their dude and get extra value. Syndra, like blow up their dude, draw a card, essentially, replace it. There's the only ways to stop it because they're just dealing a ball of damage and then leaving something for you to deal with. And most decks can't deal with that.
Yeah. And the lack of Phantasm means your value on the allies is always realized, right? Like, you can't just pop it with a card sometimes. You have to do the number that it says to clear it. And usually it's more than the number. The only way to deny that value is to... What's that?
Reverse Uno, Gravy gets the Phantasm Popper now. Your attack doesn't work anymore.
And then the allies also have
opponent Phantasm.
But then the allies also have 2 modes on them. Like, you can attack or do a thing that's like strong. Like, I just don't understand how we got here still. But I forget what point I was even making. I'm just lost in my frustration.
The point is that like it's an I don't know. We were talking about how it's an ally-based deck that doesn't play like an ally-based deck because it's doing so much damage on its turn.
Yeah, it's like a value aggressive damage deck that makes you deal with allies or they get even more value. Yeah, I think you summed it up well. It's either you have to take no damage and clear, or you have to clear and disrupt, or you just get ran over.
And the step 1 of the meta, step 1 is beat Gravy. If your deck does not beat Gravy, you cannot play in the meta. And I'm fairly sure this might be the most hard rule we've ever had in the meta, because I'm real worried that these play rates are like Chain level, when Chain was like Monarch busted level.
Yeah, I'll give you 30 to 50%.
Yeah.
I think 30 is like the floor, which is crazy.
Just wait till ProQuest come around. Like, I'm fairly certain it's going to be 50% in the room, depending on what ProQuest you go to. If it's anything like the 2.5K that I played at, which was legitimately like 25 Gravies showed up. It was like insane. I've never seen such a mono deck in this game since I started with Chain. Like that was the first real mono deck that I'd ever seen. And it was like the last mono deck I've really ever seen. And maybe you can put Briar in there, but we've never had anything like that since then.
I can't
And I
even
would
like,
compare
say with
Gravy
Briar
to Chain.
because there was like nothing to play during that season anyways. So
Gravy does
agree.
feel like Chain to me though. Like he's doing all of these broken things. Like why are you intentionally choosing not to do this?
and you have all this card
And
selection
expecting
to
to win.
fix a lot of issues.
Mhm.
Like
Yep.
it gives you so much range of skill expression because of the card selection you have.
Yeah, like if you're not playing Gravy as the Gravy, you're probably sorry, I said that terribly. When you're playing Gravy against the non-Gravy deck, you probably expect to win every game because your deck is just infinitely more insane than theirs.
Yep. At least it has the power to be. Like you have high roll potential. You do have
Yeah.
low roll potential, but you have a lot of high roll potential. There's just like not a lot of decks are more fun than playing Gravy when Gravy's like popping off as well. It just feels like there's not a reason not to play it. And if you're all the time you're investing into it right now, it's just like super rewarded because the deck's gonna be around. Like it's just gonna be around. And like, yeah, you could put infinite time into Slippy, and Slippy I think is a good fun deck to play. But like you don't know if like Mario peaks up and now you can't play your deck because like now there's 12% Mario players. Like you just like, and then now you're just like, you can't have that many auto losses. Like it's not really an auto loss, but you know what I'm saying. Like
I will say we're kind of bashing on them a little bit here. They did a good job designing Gravy as far as like fun factor goes and like flavor. I think the hero feels very good to play. I really enjoy this hero. If we don't talk about like power level or meta placement, like this is a really well designed hero. They did a great job of that. They knocked it out of the park. But there's other problems.
I would compare it directly to MST. Like all three of those heroes are exactly the same. They're like extremely well designed, extremely cool and fun to play. Horrible, horrible play experience on the other side. Some of the worst we've ever seen. So I don't know. It's kind of more of the same to me. Absolutely no doubts that the design team is incredible at like creating the best game on the market and the best play experience for some of the players. Yeah, no, I think the hero designs are always like spot on. It's just the balance is like, well, this one's like way out of line to me.
At least compared to MST, we're not in a ships passing in the night style metagame. Like, I'm sure a lot of people saw that back in the day. I made a whole video on that. That was legitimately the worst metagame I've ever played in any card game. Every deck was just ignoring the fact that their opponent existed and was just doing whatever their game plan was. It was the most ignorant. Mm-hmm. It was so ignorant. I was like, I'm playing literally a bunch of one player games that happen to be happening at the same time. This is just so stupid. And at least we're not in that. Like the power level is very high, but we're at least playing a game of flesh and blood. Whether or not the other player might never have a chance of actually winning that game, they feel like they have a chance of winning. They can play the game. I mean, I had nothing else to add about that. I finished my thought. Hence laughing.
No, the games are engageable, and I think right now the meta it can be handled. And what I mean by that is like you can kind of fatigue a lot of the players because like even though the fatigue is a lot simpler, it's like still a skill. It's still harder to do. Like Talishar Verdant's full fatigue is like gonna beat a lot of the Gravy players that you see out there. Not necessarily the top players, but it can definitely beat like a lot of the medium players. I have seen some good Valda Victor type decks that play decently enough into the Gravy Bones that like aren't the best players in the world, but they're like good enough that like you can actually bring this to a tournament and do well. And so I think its oppressive nature hasn't happened yet, besides it just existing, like in the game. But there will be a time when the skill, like the general skill, starts creeping higher, and you're going to see a lot of these edges just slowly bleed away. Also, I think I've heard this sentiment a lot. This has been a while since I've heard this, but like locals starting to complain about having to play Gravy every single week, consistently all the time on Talishar and in person. I think eventually you see that because it's kind of boring for the non-Gravy player just sitting there watching the Gravy person take like a 20-minute turn because they're just like playing Yu-Gi-Oh by themselves to like figure out how they're gonna make their turn work, and then they're eventually like, "Would you like to play the game?" And then they like they give them a moment to block.
From the other side, Gravy feels exactly like Chain at full power. Like I think that's what we're approaching right now. That level of like
I
I
will say
don't
that
want to
was
deal
really
with this at
boring.
locals.
Playing against Chain back then was mad boring. Just I could never
Did I
race
say
you.
Chain?
guess
I would
just
say
have to
Zen.
block.
Ah,
You
you said
said Chain.
Chain.
Oh, my bad. Full power Zen.
I guess I can see that. I mean, I loved playing
It's like
Chain,
I'm playing
but
like
I
two
knew I was
cards.
the only one having fun. So
Here's my 2 card 7 with a non-hit, and they're like, "Here's 8 go again CNC. I'm gonna draw 4 cards. Play this ally. Crack a rum. Here's 18 damage." It's like nobody wants to play
By the
against
way, you
that.
still have to kill my Sawbones.
And then I try and CNC your chum the next turn, and you -1 me. Like I don't need
I
this.
haven't wait. I haven't compassed yet.
Yeah, like I don't care about your compass, man.
I haven't used my dead threads yet. I guess I'll put that in Arsenal and draw a card off of gold.
I think it's gonna
they
approach
had-
that level of like disdain. Is that the right word? Feels like the right word.
I think it'll get disdain just because of how long the turns are.
Yeah.
Like if the turns were as fast as you described the turn to be, I think less people would have a problem with it. But the turn is legitimately just like, I'm going to play this. I'm going to play this. I'm going to make a gold. Should I compass here?
Yeah, it's like they're Kano comboing every turn.
Okay, I'm going to compass. Give me a second. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to draw. And like, this is like this is like a normal turn. Like that's not slow play either. That's like a normal good pace of play.
Yeah,
It's
they
just
get
like,
you with the boredom too.
you're just sitting over there like, when do I do something? Like,
Meanwhile, my hand is like 3/3 blocks that can't convert on offense and like 1 leave no witness. I'm like, just let me block 9 already, man.
That was the thing that I liked the most about the book ban when that happened. Removing all the books made it so there's less cards changing in players' hands during their own turn, because the way you normally think about turns in Flesh and Blood, you drop your hand, you figure out what you're doing on your turn, and then you make all your blocks and everything. Go to your turn, execute. You're not thinking on your own turn. But when you add drawing to the equation, you have to reevaluate every time you see new cards. Well, with Gravy, you're constantly reevaluating because you're constantly being flooded with new information.
Yep. And I mean, the biggest thing is like compass, like just like, when do you want your additional information? So like you can put it off and then you have to think about when you're doing that. And it's just like infinite decisions. Like now those will start to get pared down. It'll get a little faster, but I don't think it'll ever get that fast because it's always different. Like you have turns that aren't the same. You have turns that are always the same. They feel the same every time you play them. And then you have turns where like, oh, I could do this in this situation. That only applies to this specific game, which is like one of the powers of the deck. But I have heard grumbling locally, at my local at least, and people in the comments can let me know if they've also heard this, but they're starting to get frustrated with constantly having to play against Gravy. They'll show up, they'll play against 1 or 2 Gravies every week. It'll be max 50 plus minutes. They're going to lose most of the time, but they just have to sit there and wait every turn, do nothing. And I don't think that's good. That's not good for that level to eventually get sick of coming, right?
I haven't seen this yet, but
yeah, like I said,
No, I've heard the same. I've seen that sentiment starting up.
So yeah, it's just new. It just happened. I just heard it the last week. Really was when I heard. I'm really getting sick of playing as Gravy every week, or I'm like I look over and I see someone just going, because the person's taken 20 turns. And they're just like, I just want to block. Like I'm at 6. Like the game could be over at any. Like I just want the game to be over. Just let me out.
That happened the other night when we were doing like shadowing games. It was like me and Yuwanji were shadowing Shane, and he was playing Mirror against Austin. And we spent legitimately 30 minutes arguing about Compass on 2 different turns. I think Austin almost fell asleep on one of the turns. And at one point he chimes in, he's like, hey, I normally wouldn't mind, but I want to go to bed. Can you please just kill me already? And I was like, oh, okay, my bad. And I just shut up. And then Yuwanji kept yapping about Compass afterwards. And he was just like, I am 0% to win this game. Please kill me.
Yeah. I mean, I've had my share of hybrid games like that where we're gonna go ramble for 30 minutes and someone's gonna fall asleep. When back in the chain days when we would just all I'll be hydrating one game and be like, the other person's like, you're not gonna have any fun, but we have to do this. Like, I don't know, you learn the most, I think, that way. That 30-minute, talk in a lot of cases. Not the person you're playing against, but you guys.
They learn
Some of the
very
people
little.
learn.
Yeah, some people learn. The important people who are playing Gravy learn.
You have to be conscious during that to learn.
True. I don't know. That's like, those are some of like the issues I see with the deck. I think on the positive side, like people really like playing the deck. I like playing the deck. I think it's fun. I think it's enjoyable. I think to think about it is fun. I just like, it's been a while since I had a new deck that just sits at my desk here that I just goldfish, like just randomly throughout the day. Like every couple hours, I just take it out and I goldfish like through maybe like 10, 50 hands. And then I'll just like cut a bunch of cards, or I'll put a bunch of cards in the deck and I'll be like, okay, let me goldfish a little bit. Like it's been a while since I had a deck besides, just pitch stacking chain indefinitely at my table. Like that just always sits here, like ready for me to just, oh yeah, I'll just play through it. And it's like, it's interesting, right? So
God, I agree. I haven't had that in a long time either. Huh.
no,
Yeah. Weirdly, I think it was also Prism back then.
you just goldfish hands and
Yeah.
it's,
Huh.
I think they did a great job designing it. It's fun to play, but man, is it miserable. It's fun to watch too. Oh my, watching Gravy games is or anything versus Gravy is very exciting. Even the Gravy mirrors are exciting to watch. So like they've nailed all that. But if you're not the Gravy player, man, is it boring for you to play the game right now. And I think maybe that's another reason why people are moving to Gravy.
But it's
They're
not just
like,
boring.
look,
It's frustrating too, because it's like I can't deal with these things you're playing. I can't play my cards. I have to watch you play your cards for 3 times as long.
it is holding a bunch of decks back. I think that is a current negative of the deck. It does have a stranglehold on the meta, and that will become more and more apparent if the numbers of people showing up with the deck are where I believe they're going to be.
Well,
Mhm.
maybe those decks that are getting held back will get a mastery pack also, so Gravy can get stronger.
True.
We can only hope.
We can only hope. I mean, to be fair, there's a bunch of extra cards coming in Super Slam for, all the different classes. So that might be something there. I don't know if anything from Super Slam is going to be able to beat Gravy. So I guess the next question is, do you think there's going to be a nerf? Do you think they're going to nerf Gravy?
Yes, absolutely, of course.
I think right now I wouldn't be expecting a nerf based on like currently what's going on. Like I wouldn't expect a nerf after the Pro Tour. And I think they thought the deck was in a fine spot. If we see the numbers like severely uptick and people bitching about it, then yeah, I could see a nerf. But I think if the trend stayed the same from the Pro Tour, if it was exactly where it was from that, probably not. Like, oh, just the best players in the game are doing good with this deck.
I don't know. I
could
think
see
for
that.
sure they take action. Like they said, the whole thing with the new LL system, right, is that they will more proactively look to take action on decks.
What do you
I
guys
think.
think would get hit?
Oh boy.
I think we've talked about this internally. I'm not gonna. I guess I can steal, something that you mentioned before, but Swell is what I agree with. I think should be hit.
Yeah.
Swell feels like feels like a card I don't want to run, but I have to run, and it's also like really powerful when it goes off, and it leads to a lot of like the junk turns. It's kind of like Seeds and Chain, where I hated running Seeds, but you had to run Seeds, and then when they banned Seeds, I was like, man, the deck's so much better without this stupid junk in here. And that's kind of how I feel about Swell. Is like, can we just ban this so we can stop like trying to high roll these type of things so that
The
I can
upside
play
is too
the deck
high.
differently. Yeah, the upside's too high.
But it really solves a lot of your problems too, where it's like, oh, I'm playing an aggro matchup and they're just letting me hit with hook every single turn. But what do I do with all this gold to actually leverage that to a win? Am I just supposed to start ignorantly cracking gold to draw with like random blues in my hand? I might not hit anything that's meaningful here. This is like to like make better decisions with that gold. I've heard a lot of people call for call getting banned. I don't think that would get hit because it's in their armory deck, and honestly, I don't think it needs getting hit. I was talking about this the other day. Like, I'm wondering if that's even worth being a 3 of in the deck. I think it's one of the weaker blues in the deck at this point. People are gonna think I'm crazy for that, but like most of the time, it's not actually that good when you play it. Like playing it to grab an ally isn't actually that good. I want that shit for free. I ain't paying for that.
Can you actually argue that it's not good to grab chum?
But I
Or
could
play
just already
chum?
have a chum. My argument is I could just already have allies. Like, would I rather spend a full card to get an ally or play the ally I already have in the bin? If I don't have allies, yeah, it's great. I need to play the game. But I could just have that shit for free.
Yeah, but you can't just like have a chum specifically.
Depends how much
Sometimes.
that matters in a matchup, I think.
Well, I'm coming from the perspective of the matchup where it's maybe the only card that matters.
Sure.
I would ban several cards. I don't think chum
I
should
think
exist as he is. Like,
Yeah, I think chum is the only issue.
you need to errata this to like a 5 cost or just get rid of it.
I think the Volta match becomes really hard if chum doesn't exist. Actually, there's like several matches that become rather hard if chum doesn't exist. But the fact that there's like these matchups where you could just be like, throw this in front and know that most of the time you're just protected. I think of like Acilio. Like the Acilio match is also like, it's not great for gravy, but like chum makes it very playable because there's a lot of game states where you just like put a chum on the board and you're just like, what are you gonna do? Like, I'm pretty good. Like, you can't kill me from this spot now because this is on the board. Like, even if you ignore it, go face, you can get me low. But I can always tap this to like make sure I don't die this turn. And there's all like several matches that works. Volta's one of them. Like Volta would be like really strong, but there will be some games where you just you put the chum out and they're just like, would you like to send 13 damage into the into the chum, please? Skip your turn. It is just like an arc light at that point.
Yeah,
Nice
no, chum
8
is just
seismics.
so ridiculous.
I
Way
would like
too
to
efficient.
respond to your seismic.
I guess you could ban dead threads and make the chum less efficient.
Can you resolve your seismics one at a time, please? I want my priority on each one. For old heads that don't know, or for newbies that don't know, that's how we used to do it back in the day against Chain with Arclight. You'd wait to the last shackle to decide if you're going to Arclight. I might as well get the full info to decide if I actually want to Arclight, right? Doesn't matter at all against a seismic, but reminiscent of that. Wait, this is Chain with Arclight.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Welcome to the gravy problem.
I think everyone that doesn't play gravy would rejoice if chum went away.
I would be okay with chum going away as
I don't think the
as
deck
someone who
needs
plays
it.
gravy.
Yeah.
I don't think we need it, and I'd be fine with looking at the deck without that in it.
I think chum's reasonable. I think call is just unnecessary. I like swell as a ban. I think you can restrict tipple.
I don't think you
Why
can
would I
touch
look at?
tipple. I think if you touch tipple, it's a design problem. An inherent design problem of how you made the deck function. Because like playing all the tipples is obvious for gravy. It was obviously part of the engine, and like just banning part of the engine that should have been tested thoroughly is like pretty embarrassing to me.
I mean,
I think
banning chi, like,
yeah,
you can have your sacred art as your only chi.
that's what I mean. It's like such an integral part of how the deck was supposed to operate. Like I can see a world where like maybe swell is just performing outside of what they expected it to be able to do, or I mean, it's pretty hard to argue banning chum as well. From like a design perspective, you should know how strong that was going to be. But like tipple's just like that's like the engine. It was like the whole deck was designed around playing tipple.
was it though?
It had to have been.
Yeah,
like
How
it's
would
like
that function without it?
If not tipple though, I would want
Yeah.
to ban like hook.
no hook is how you have.
Gold is just like
interaction,
way
I
too
think.
easy.
Sure. I just don't think that's the way. I mean, obviously you could hit it that way. It would just like instantly nerf a lot of it. But at that point, you're just like taking the identity away from the deck. And typically when I'm looking at nerfing the deck, I'm trying to keep the identity, like the play pattern, the core of the deck, how it operates the same, but like make it so that it's allowed to exist within the metagame. That's not just like stomping on people. And so like, there's a bunch of things you could cut, but then the core of how the deck operates just disappears.
Wait,
I don't
Dan's
know.
onto
I
something.
like.
Dan's onto something. That's not how they ban cards. They just kill the entire deck instead. Rip Chain.
I like how tipple forces the gravy activation more to get allies in the yard. Like it puts more of a tax on your rum.
Which one?
Tipple. I'm saying reducing your tipples means you have to activate gravy more. to discard allies, which means you can't run as often. I think it's more of a cost.
I don't think you can gravy more. You'll have less gold. So you actually can gravy less.
Sure. That sounds great.
Like the deck just like wouldn't function.
I don't think
You're
it's
gonna be
that
out here
deep.
casting
It
allies
would
for
only be
hand.
-6 gold cards.
-6. There's like that's like the deck's over.
It's significantly worse than that because it'd be not just the tipples you're removing, it's the hook that happens every turn that you tipple, which
Correct.
some amount of the time is a gold. Like
You shouldn't
so
be
you're-
gaining a resource and a gold and threatening another gold every turn. That's just not reasonable.
just if they replaced it with another way to make gold, I'd be fine with that. It just the deck just doesn't function without that.
Well, why don't you just play other ways to make gold? Play starting stake, for example.
That's
Like, that's on you.
Oh,
now you just got
I think
hater
it's
mode.
time to
on.
head out.
That's just
a nice pod.
Like, aren't people like not playing like seafloor salvage? Like, there's other cards in the set that make gold.
There's literally only C4 salvage. It's the last one.
Is it? Well, there you
Wow.
go. Now you
They're
only
also
go
not
last.
playing the Fable.
True.
I don't know. I think he would survive a restriction. Maybe it's a 6-card restriction. Maybe just the blues go away.
I think he could survive, like, if you got rid of yellow tipples or red tipples or something like that. He could survive. It would be okay. But the deck would be like way less enjoyable to play. It wouldn't be the deck anymore. You're still gonna lose randomly to like the deck just feeling like it felt now.
Yeah.
It just would do that less often. So you would just be sitting down across from the gravy player and like, does it happen this time? Like, and maybe in the mirror would be a little bit more shiesty because you would have less dudes to run into the stuff. So people would probably run over the mirror a little bit more. You're just like adding a lot more randomness because you're getting rid of the consistency factor. You're not lowering the power of the deck, you're lowering the consistency of the deck. And when you lower the consistency of the deck, it feels worse when you lose, and it feels worse to play the deck. I think like these are like pretty like low-hanging fruit solutions that don't go out into making the game better. They just like make the game worse for everyone involved. And something that would make the game better, I think, for most people involved would be like get rid of Chum. Like I'm actually pretty okay with just get rid of Chum as like
I'm
get rid
pretty
of Chum,
sold
get rid
too.
of Arclight. Like,
I think
and
just
then
kill
let me
Chum
still
and see
just
how
play
it
the game.
goes.
I'd be fine with.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I just don't need those type of effects. I don't think the deck needs Chum. Like some matches, it helps a lot, but I don't think the deck needs Chum in order to be strong because of how much damage it outputs. It actually can like value race aggro decks in a certain way as well, just by like punching each other in the mouth. And like, I don't know if that was expected. That's the part that I don't know if that was tested and expected, that it could just race aggro decks.
I think every part of the card is poorly balanced. Like, it attacking for free is kind of a joke. Because the alternative is you can't efficiently clear it, you need to go face so that you can stay in the game. But if you go face, they can just block and they have a free attack. Like, it makes no sense whatsoever to me in its current implementation. I think the cost of having to have an ally is the only like fair part. You can make them have it. But if they don't have it, like, who cares? They still have a free attack for 4 on the board. Like,
yeah.
I could also
with
see
you.
back alley go. This feels like
make fatigue matchup harder
this just
and the high roll.
this feels like as intended for back alley. Like clearly they knew this existed. They put it in their armory deck, but maybe it's too good and they weren't expecting the how good Swell was going to be in the deck. Maybe
Swell chart giving call like gain 2 action points off the call is like actually pretty good for that blue card, because now you don't have to run like lead the charge and stuff like that you kind of had to before. People were all in on the back. It does feel really bad when they just like natty the back alley. So I could see that as like a tone down, but that would need to be, I think there would need to be something with that. Like
Or
if they
just
wanted to
blue.
hit that and then something else.
I would still want
Just
Chum
blue
Gum.
back alley.
Well, yeah. It would be like that and Swell. If they just hit like that and Swell together, then maybe you're playing like a different deck. I think a lot of these changes, like I think Gravy can survive with its identity intact, but you're just not going to see like the like Swell get the thing off the top, and then you're just like conk, and then you're and then you're like play like another go again. Then you're like play an ally, and you're just like, what do you do now? Like I've done everything to you.
Noah's not here, so I'll say this for him. I should go. Get rid of the fables.
You? Yeah. I is kind of gross, especially like I is like really gross.
It feels like just gaining a full card almost from how good the effect is.
They have a swell. You know,
I mean,
it's
it's a
gonna
full
hit.
card. Like Kano plays a potion that has this effect.
True. I do want to talk about the other thing that I think is propping Gravy up that I haven't heard anyone talk about. I think Slippy is actually propping Gravy's place in the meta higher than it might always have been. I think there are a lot of decks that could potentially compete against Gravy. So like if you knew Gravy was 40%, there's like a good handful of these decks that you could bring that are actually pretty decent in playing in the Gravy. The issue is they all suck into Slippy. Like they all absolutely just garbage into Slippy. And if Slippy is like also played at the same rate that it was at Pro Tour, like so maybe it's like still like 20% or so, maybe more. Because its matchup into Gravy is playable. Then it's holding down the answers. Like then Slippy is holding down the answers to Gravy that would balance Gravy out a little more. I'm thinking of like Acilio's like a great example here. Like I think Acilio into Gravy is like a pretty favorable matchup for Acilio. It's still playable on the Gravy side. You're not just like, it's not like a 0% like we've had in the past, but Acilio, like Slippy's match into Slippy is like not very good. Like I would love to, I'll be Slippy every time in that matchup pretty comfortably. And I think there's several matches that this is doing it too.
Other than that,
Like
what,
try and
like-
find a deck that beats both of them. It just like doesn't exist.
What else would
I
it be?
got
Like
one.
Dawnblade Dory?
Yeah, Dory is like a good example as well. There's several
Syndra.
other ones that I was looking at. Yeah, Syndra is also an issue. Gravy players like to pretend that they beat Syndra every time, but it's 40%. It's just like it's a 40% matchup, which is fine. Like that's still decently playable. But yeah, Syndra is another good example.
What else?
We just
outside of
don't-
that?
I have to go back through them, but I remember looking at
I
them.
guess. Fi's probably pretty good to Gravy.
I mean, Fi.
Just
I
links and
guess,
kill him in
yeah.
2 turns. Kano.
Oh, Ira is another one. Ira's like pretty decent into Gravy, but Ira's like pretty bad into Slippy as well.
Reasonable.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just talking about like there's these other decks you could look at that have options like there's just no decks that beat both decks. Like they because they attack on so different accesses, it's really hard to have a deck that beats both of them.
And think of one. Look at the data.
Sure.
Check the data.
Is it Gravy?
Sure isn't.
It is Gravy. Gravy is the answer because Gravy beats Gravy and Gravy can beat Slippy. So
It's 50-50 into both of them.
at least.
Yeah, all I'm saying is my hero is the top win percentage deck on February right now for the month. So
Yeah.
almost
I
60%
mean,
win rate into Gravy right now. Pretty cool.
Technically, Gravy's 100% in the Gravy. Every time Gravy's play, Gravy wins 100% of the time,
True.
Strong.
but only one Gravy loses, so 50%.
I was gonna put it at like 60-40.
And that's how Gravy was designed.
It's true.
That's the math
I
I
just
put
thought that was
into to create him.
I was just sitting down mapping out kind of how the meta game looked, and I just thought it was interesting. Every time I picked a deck that beat Gravy, there's just like a Slippy over here, like, but you don't beat me, and I was like, dude, you're doing all the heavy lifting for Gravy. Like Slippy's just over here, just helping Gravy out, just supporting him up because like the matchup is playable, so but it just beats everything that a lot of the things that are trying to beat Gravy. So it's kind of like all of these things combined, I think are probably making Gravy's play rate really high. But I think the biggest thing is the LL change. To me, that is like one of the biggest things where I think we've seen the adoption because it's just so safe. And this is the first time in the game's history it's felt safe to just be like, I'm going to main this for the next year.
It's also
You
the
think that's
first
a
time you can
problem?
get.
Go ahead.
It's also the first time you can get the entire deck in cold foil.
Okay,
People like that, man.
sure.
True, because their deck's gonna stay
Never
around
seen
longer, so they
before.
can get it all cold foil.
Yeah, now
And we'll
even
rotate
private
right
common
away.
and rare comes in cold foil too because of the treasure pack.
Mhm.
Still never
Do you
opened one.
think- Do you think this LL change is a problem?
No, I think it's a capsulation of this being the first set that has these settings. I think if we see more sets with powerful things come out, it'll even out over the course of like 6 months. Like you see, you get this set, and then you have like, okay, a bunch of people are maining this guy, a bunch of people are maining this guy from this set here because they just know they can have him for the next year plus. But once we have enough of that happening, it'll like even out. But this is the first set where it's just like, I'm just gonna play Gravy for the next year, 2 years, and I know all my cards are safe. Also, the deck's not that expensive right now. Like, if you sit down to build the deck, it's not that bad compared to a lot of where other decks are. Especially once you don't have to play like the gold helmet anymore, because that thing's like $160. Like, you don't have to play that card. So I think Gravy's like reasonable with the armory kit and everything to build almost the whole deck. Cut Eye out, cut some of the expensive things out, but yeah.
I also don't think it's a problem. I like knowing that my deck is safe to play for an amount of time, and I don't have to worry about it just like disappearing on me because it did well for a season. I think it's a net positive. And
I think it's a great thing.
Confidence.
Yep. Yeah, confident buy-in is huge.
Yep. And I think we'll see. I'm a little dubious that Super Slam's going to have the same type of reception for people jumping into main guys out of there. We'll see when the whole set comes out. But I would expect the next couple of sets to come out as long as there's something pretty powerful in there. This trend will start to even out over time. Because like people whose decks are gone now will latch on to the first new big thing. And we just had a bunch of stuff rotate out of the game. And then they said, here's a shiny new toy called Gravy that's really strong and will be around for the next year to 2 years. They guaranteed. So would you like to buy in now?
It's a new class too.
New class, armory kit with it. So you could, and the armory kit was juiced. Got to remember, this is probably one of technically the most juiced armory kits we've had, where it's just the whole deck. Like, it's like most of the deck is just there, ready to go.
Was this foreshadowing that Chum will be banned because that wasn't in the deck?
Hope so. Maybe.
But no, I wouldn't complain. Anything else on Gravy before we move on to some podcast questions? Or
still not S tier.
Still not S tier. Gravy S. Mario S tier.
Well, guess I'll be heading out.
You know what's making it S tier? Slippy. Slippy's doing a great job holding down that. He's holding down that fort. He's just like, no one's gonna mess with my guy. This is my guy.
Meanwhile, he's like 51% in the matchup.
Yeah. he's doing a lot of defense for that guy.
He's a bouncer.
He is the bouncer. He's stopping all of the actual hate decks from being able to be played. Great. Next, we move on to podcast questions. These are asked by premium members of our MetaFi. If you'd like to be able to ask questions on the podcast, find any of our deck lists that we got up. I just today put up for all the Gilded tier members the Naib, Tiger, Ira deck list and sideboard guide, because I know that was being asked for a bunch. We also put up a Slippy deck list and sideboard guide. And then we have an updated Gravy list coming this month as well. If you'd like to find those and all of our ones from the previous month, feel free to join in the link below. So first question here is going to be from Scary Super Cringe. Volda versus Bravo. Who is better with the new cards?
I mean, Volda.
Oh, yeah,
even without
close.
The new cards. Yeah, it's like really not close though. It's very good support for her.
Yeah, Volda's very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if we're just saying who's better with specifically the new cards, definitely Volda.
Well, it's like you could pay 2 for Dominate, or you could just have Dominate. That's like a pretty good starting point.
I like free. This is why I don't want to play Call. I want that shit for free.
Would you like free dollars and Dominate? Just play Volda against Gravy, and then just pray for no chum. That's it. Just pray no chum.
Or
yeah, true. That's kind of a huge deal. That you just get Seismics.
No. The Volda match into Gravy is like, Volda's like doing work until chum hits the board.
That makes
3
sense.
times. Yeah. And then every time she like loses her whole turn. She literally gets just lose a whole turn. Like, it's so hard before that. I don't know if you've ever played the matchup. Like, they're just like hitting you in the mouth every turn for almost free while blocking. Like, she doesn't do the thing where she clears the stuff. Like, she can if it's built that way. but a lot of times she can just punch you in the mouth for like super discounted rates while blocking. And it gets very scary until you put the chum on the board and skip their turn. Then they get punished for all the guys they left on the board.
Plus, they get to blow up your
Essentially
compass.
And they do get to blow up your compass, and they get to do it like a little bit more efficiently if you're actually drawing cards. Agreed. He Who Smites says, fearless confrontation has been sort of unimpressive in my testing. The upside of saving a chum is high, but the floor is very low. Curious to hear your thoughts on it. I think the floor is great. It's a deal 5 damage. We talked about it, a lot already.
I think if your concern is the floor being bad, then consider maybe adding more action point generation to your deck, so that way you can utilize it better on second cycle. Being able to just go like play an Avasti or a Flying High or something, swing my ally would go again, and then swing this after is pretty good at when you're at the end of the game.
Imagine adding a ley line to that line.
Oh,
Yep.
That you put back in the deck from Scoob.
Yep.
Really, what this is telling me is you need more rum in your deck. Like, you need either to focus more on making rum, or you need more rum generators in your deck, because like it works so well with the new card if you happen to have to cast it.
It's kind of tough with that because you there's like diminishing returns on rum. Like you can only do it once per turn, so adding more isn't always necessarily better. It generally just means that you get to start using it earlier, but at that point earlier, maybe you're still in like, I kind of need to hero power to get rid of these idiots in the yard and be able to play them. So like maybe that's not what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I meant more of like if the card feels bad. I meant if the card is feeling bad, it's probably because you're not actually getting enough rum to make the card feel when it does feel good. Which is like second cycle, you have rum, you play it for like 5, it has go again, and then you just play a dude. You're like, this is like very good use of the card.
Listen, they're just gonna ban Swell, and then we can replace that with Flying Highs and then move on with life.
I think the worst feeling thing about the card is that you only have a couple days to find it if you're going to KC. And from what I hear, the set's a little allocated again.
You got more than a couple days. It comes out in like 3 days from when we're recording.
Yeah, so you have a week minus your travel time.
Yeah.
A few days.
I don't know. Nothing like Nationals. Anything more than Nationals is infinite time, apparently.
I agree. Dude, I'm so salty about that. This is going to be the funnest set to open. All the treasure packs.
Yeah. Millen asks, what would you add to Battle Hardened pricing to make it better outside of just money?
I was going to say $2,500.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just double it. We're good. I mean, more gold foils. Legendaries to top 8 first gets a gauntlet equivalent.
If you top 8, you get to play another Pro Quest that season.
Oh.
Dude, you can't say that. No, I don't know. I think
that's funny.
I think more promos, right? So like there should be like a top 64 promo, like a Sync Blow or something, top 32, top 16. Just more promos so that like caching can pay for like half of the trip at least. And it doesn't cost that money. Just print more cardboard.
More than likely, they are just replacing them with callings next year. And if any of the rumors are true, we're just getting infinitely more callings. So that's kind of like the improvement to the Battle Hardened system already. But it's like, it's pretty hard to travel to things when top 8ing doesn't pay for your trip. So like, it's kind of like the edge for most people on EV is like, if I top 8, is my trip paid for? If the answer is yes, then a lot of the times it's just worth going. Because like you'll top 8 some number of the events if you're like a competitive player, if that's like actually, part of, what is deciding if you can go or not versus just I don't want to. And when the only way to make your money back is to win the event, like it's just never worth going unless you're like a couple of people. Right.
Potentially a couple people that might be the only ones interested in a very specific other system in the game.
Yeah, true. Carnivore asks, if you were designing an expansion slot card for any hero in the game, who would it be and what would it do?
Oh, so easy.
So easy.
Shadow chess piece. It blocks for 6. It goes to vanish when destroyed and it says blood debt.
Wait, you can
already
already play that
exists
in
and
CC,
just
though.
came up
currently
with that.
legal.
Oh, we're talking about CC?
Yeah.
Oh. I was going to reprint it so it wouldn't be banned.
I have mine. I actually have a real one. I've been saying this one for a while though. I want a Vinset card that just says make a soul shackle.
Yeah.
That's all it does. It just makes a soul shackle. That's it.
That's pretty cool.
It's just like Legacy of Chain is like what it's called, or something to reference chain, and then it just makes a soul shackle.
I will go with a card that should have been printed in the KO Armory deck. It's either these two boots, so that way people stop playing Scabskin Leathers. Give people a reason to play different boots, basically. Don't remove them from the game, just incentivize them to play something else. It's either the boring option, where it's basically just Apex Bonebreaker in the boot slot, where you block and make an agility token, which I think is really good, like, actual gameplay with Brute, because typically you're rolling your scabs because you're either really down bad and you just got to do this to stay in the game. The value prop on your small hand says you should probably roll scabs here, or you just got to play your 5-card hand, because if you don't, you can't actually win this game. So like, oh, they just blocked out and I have 5 cards, and if I just like play my 2-card hand and pass, it's not good enough. The counterplay of them not actually attacking you to let you get that action point to play your 5-card hand, I think is like really interesting back and forth gameplay between the two players. And then the other one would be slightly more interesting, I think, though. Like, interesting in the writing of the card, but less interesting in the gameplay itself. It just like gets charge counters every time you engage with the gameplay loop of what Brute is doing. So either discarding 6s or rolling dice. And then you can remove a specific number of counters, whatever needs to be the correct amount to balance this card. And then you gain an action point. Instead of rolling a dice, it's engage with loop. You can gain an action point every now and then.
Yeah, that's actually, I mean, that's kind of what Sea Legs does currently, but it's like in your deck, you have to find it. I like that. I like that last one. It's that one's interesting to think about.
You inspired a real one for me, Cody. I could see Vinsec getting their own like Ring of Roses, where the first time you deal Arcane, you get a rune chant. It's like kind of broken, but kind of fine as a one of.
Yeah, it's a one of no go again. You just have to play the card, and it's even worse in that deck because you have to banish a card and then play it.
Yeah, maybe it says
What if
Blood
it's-
Debt.
What if
Just
it's
to push
you lose life on your action phase instead?
Oh, yeah, that's a good balance there. But then it has to have Blood Debt, be playable from your banish, and have go again.
What if it has Blood
Oh.
Debt in play?
Oh,
What?
No.
Because you're making free value every turn.
Yeah, but so is Ring. But you have to pay one already. You're already sacking a point. It'll be 2 points every turn that you use it, at least.
Yeah, but you make up the value elsewhere in Vincent.
Maybe. I'd have to play it. I'd have to play it to see where that tunes at, because I'm not 100% where that would tune at. But I do like the pay a life, make a rune chant type of.
I think everyone should get a Ring of Roses now that we started the trend.
Not pay a life when you lose life on your action phase. So you
Yeah.
actively have to do something that would make you trigger your hero power.
Wait, I got it. It's a chain Ring of Roses that says the first time you deal Arcane, destroy an aura token.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
But for a completely different reason in LL. Your Scabskin talk about reminded me. I have to a real funny story. I'm playing Gravy on Talishar. I queue into a Levia. The first game they roll Scabskin 3 times. They roll 1 all 3 times. They just like after the third one they just concede because I have 5 guys on board. Then they're like rematch. It's like yeah that was a fake game. Let's rematch. They rematch. They roll scabs 3 times. They hit 2+ action points all 3 times. They still lose the game. And I was like, at that point, just stop playing Levia. Like if you can't beat Gravy on either axis there, everything went right for you in one game. Everything went wrong for you in the other game. You lost both of them. Just that's what I'm talking about with like step 1, beat Gravy. If you can't hit this step, just take that deck and just put it in the trash can for now. Like,
Do not make that your desk fish bowling deck.
no.
Or maybe that's the only place to have it.
The only place I play that. It is kind of fun to go through the Levia stuff. Okay. Joe asks, I'm making a magic cube based around mutate. I don't believe you. Give me one card to add to it. If this means nothing to any of you, answer to the best of your ability. No one's making anything with mutate. It's not real.
I still don't know how that mechanic works, and I played during that time.
Put it on or under something, and then things happen.
Yeah, I just don't get it.
It becomes everything and then nothing at the same time.
I can't name a
I'd have to
single
think
card.
about this answer for longer.
Just don't. Just don't use mutate.
Yeah, I don't have a good answer.
I was watching some video. I was like a magic judge was talking about how every judge question he gets starts with, so I used mutate and something else, and then he always disregards them because they're not real situations that would ever occur in an actual tournament, because like no one ever uses mutate. But all of
Mutated
like the
mass.
tricky scenarios all start with mutate.
Add mutated mass.
Perfect. Mutated mass. There's probably a magic card called mutated mass as well.
Oh, there must be. Yeah.
There's a card called Spectral Shield.
Yeah. It's so funny when you're on TCG Player, you type in the name for something, and it's just like there's always a magic card with the exact same name. It's great. Cooney asks, what's your favorite animal?
My dog. Specifically.
Can I take,
A snack.
Can I take his
Go ahead.
answer? Dog.
His
I
dog?
do like his dog quite a bit.
He's a good dog.
No.
When I
Snake's
slept
my
over at
favorite
Dan's
animal.
house once, I was sleeping in their like guest bedroom, and
It's his
That's
bedroom,
normally where-
technically.
which was the next thing. He came in all indignant that I was in his bed, and then he jumped in the bed, lifted my arm up to sleep in my arm. I was like, "Oh my god, I would die or kill for you."
Yeah. He likes company in there. That's his room.
Oh, his look, the face he had was so funny. He was just like,
Manuel asks, what's your golden piece of advice for getting better at draft?
Ooh.
Well, technically, you don't have to, because there's nothing to draft for a while. But let me think. Let me think of a real answer
Yeah, there's so much to
for you
it.
on this one.
have an
Oh.
idea of what you want your deck to look like by the end of the draft, and in between packs, see where you're at to actually have that deck in front of you to figure out what kind of pieces you're missing, what kind of ratios. I think that's like something a lot of players don't do, where they're like, maybe they keep taking reds in pack 3 or something when they're currently at 4 blues and they needed to pay better attention to like what their end product needed to be, or maybe they just kept slamming cards that in their mind are pack 1 pick ones, but in reality they already have like 8 of that type of effect in their deck and they don't yet have another type of effect in their deck. Like maybe you kept taking good mech class cards in this set, but you don't actually have any go-agains in your deck yet to get Treasure Island going, so you can never actually have a playable 4 or 5 card hand. Things like that. Like make sure you have all the different pieces filled in your deck.
Yeah, I can add on to that, or like build off of it. I think I would say playing draft games is better than drafting, so that you can get that end picture that Fino was talking about. So I would recommend grabbing other people's draft decks that have 3-0'd and playing them against each other, so you learn like what good decks look like, what are like what's good and bad in each matchup.
Hey Dan, where can
And then go
people
from
grab 3-0 decks?
Oh, I have just the place for that actually. If you join the Runaways Discord in the link below, you can draft with the community, and also from time to time check out the 3-0 decks that people post from their drafts, and you can pick those up and play them against each other.
There's a whole channel for that.
So I'm gonna go a different way. I'm gonna give people like a cheat code to like get good at draft or get better results with draft pretty quickly. And I found this when I was staying with a couple of locals, and it was Outsiders. No, not Outsiders. It was Hunted. The Hunted Calling like on the day it was released. It was that time. And one of my locals like made day 2, and they're like, I don't know have any idea how to draft this set. And I was like, well, what did you play in Sealed? Okay, you know how to play Feng. So we're just gonna draft your strat the best that you can, and don't worry about like what the perceived good player would do. Like you have to draft a strategy that is like your strategy that you understand that you can do the best, even if you think, oh, like a better player could have navigated this draft in a different way. That doesn't matter. It's like you need to navigate this draft the way you can. So I just said, you're just forcing Feng. You're picking these things. We did like a mock draft, and I just said, show me what you would pick here. No, pick this for this reason. And then we went through some of those picks, and it was just like he did that, and he actually had pretty good success on day 2, just like drafting that style. And it was like, is this like this is a like a tool to be able to use to like get better results? It's not going to make you an overall better drafter necessarily, but like sometimes you need to accept that like you should draft your style and just trust that the style that you're drafting, because it's kind of nebulous sometimes what is correct to do. And we have this argument like quite often internally when I'll talk about like, yeah, like Yuanji drafting style, or, you know, I'll have like my own drafting style depending on like what the sets are. And I think these things are important because when you're sitting down at the table and you're looking at the packs, the only person who can make those decisions are you. So if you're not being true to like how you view the game or how you view the draft, then I don't think it's you're ever going to be able to implement someone else's style on top of that. It's different than playing an actual game where you can look at heuristics and everything else because you're making so many judgment calls. You have to be able to trust your own judgment.
Yeah, I can echo that one. All I had to do at that event was force Arachne one more time, and I would have had the most perfect deck ever. Instead, it was the shortest top 8 I've ever been a part of. I had like a 40-second game. But I deviated from the strat that got me to top 8 by trying to go into what I thought was open, but then I got past cut. And I could have just forced Arachne, which is what I had just played for like 2 consecutive drafts.
Yeah, I mean, I did the same thing at Nationals in the calling. I tried to big brain myself on the last. I like 3-0'd my first draft, and I was going in the second draft, and I was like, okay, I just like 2-1 this. I top 8 every time. There's a chance if I won 2 that I could be like real close top 8ing because of where I was sitting at. And I sat down, and I, for the first time in my entire career, I drafted 3-0 because I just, or 0-3'd it because I just tried to big brain the whole system. Oh, well, maybe if this comes around, and oh, maybe this is actually open because they're taking this. Oh, this can't be open. So I should just force puffing, and I'm like, I'm in there.
I still have flashbacks of like the cards that pass, the Arachne cards that I pass. It was like a pick 5 red or Weaver Spinner red that I can vividly picture handing to the person next to me, knowing that I indeed fucked up.
Yep.
Just waking up in a cold sweat thinking about Arachne cards.
Yeah. I have a couple of those moments, like my Hamilton pun in the Nats finals. It's one of them. That one's like once a week though.
Yeah. my chain one comes up like once a month now. It has gone from like once a day.
That's pretty good.
It went to once a week. Now it's been about several years since this moment has happened. So now I'm at like once a month. It comes up. I cannot believe that I ticked up before I played that card. I just win the game on the spot if I just don't tick up.
Yeah, I was like be watching TV with the wife and the memory just hits me.
It's like the meme with the dog who's like the nom dog. You're just sitting there and all of a sudden you're like, what have I done?
Okay. Really, the one that keeps coming back to haunt me is not one that anyone would think of. It's the time that I forgot the strat. It was my winning into top 8 at the calling at Charlotte, and it was like my like 6th Oldhim in a row or 8th Oldhim in a row, whatever the fuck it was, and I forgot the strat, and I didn't play around expose on turn 0 and got exposed on turn 0, and I put my opponent to 1 by the end of the game.
Oof.
I could have played around it. I just forgot because mentally taxed.
Wardo77 asks, do you have any advice for practicing fundamentals of pitch stacking that have upped this side of your game? I think pitch stacking, I was thinking about this. So pitch stacking is like different with each deck. It's like why, like, but there's some general rules with pitch stacking. I think people make it too complicated. And mostly what it is in a game that might go second cycle, just be aware of some of the cards you are forced to pitch. So step 1 is, for example, when you're playing new would go to the second cycle. Sometimes you would put one of your reacts, you would have to pitch it like a red.
Yeah,
and now
Nick.
you're aware.
That's a good one.
Like Justinic is a good one. Yep. So you like pitch your Justinic. You're forced to. Like the way your turn plays out is like you're pitching a Justinic. And now in your mind, what you should be thinking is I pitched a Justinic for my second cycle. I should pair a card next turn next to that card so that when it comes back around, I'm good to go. And then if I draw my hand back up and there isn't the paired card next to it on the second cycle, I know it's the next card in the deck. So that's like the easiest way to pitch stack. People like overblow it. It's just, you just look at naturally what happens to get pitched in the first cycle when you're playing the game normally. And when you see a power card get pitched, pair it on the next turn, purposely pair it with a card that goes with it. And then remember that you have that coming on the next cycle. That will legitimately fix most of your pitch stack second cycles in almost all of your games. Just doing that consciously.
Adding one small thing to that, what I like to do when, like, I do exactly that, but I add one more thing to it. I try to have in above it a signpost card. So like, oh, I just pitched Justinic. I sit there and think for a second. If I can't like immediately remember, I'll like fan out my grave and go, what did I do last turn? And I'll go, oh yeah, I pitched this blue, whatever it is. That is my signpost card, so I know when I see that card, underneath that is when I'm going to draw into that hand. So I know, okay, next hand is when I'm going to see this or something like that. So that way I can kind of plan around that. And like that really matters when you're playing like Gravy Bones, for example, because you can be like, I had a good example of that on stream the other day. Like I knew that I pitched an eye, and underneath it was like a bunch of sick cards. So when I found the eye, I was like, oh, cracking gold here is like really good because I know 3 cards down is a conqueror. So I'm just going to opt to bottom no matter what those 2 cards are, and I'm going to draw into a conqueror because I knew that was my signpost card.
Yep. It makes a big difference between like if your deck actually has the ability to change the top card of your deck, then it becomes so when you have that ability, it becomes more important to know what cards you pitched in the orders that you pitched them are, like where they are in the deck. If your deck, which is like a whole different skill. I mean, like for example, like I mean with chain, it would just be like creating a pocket in the deck. Like you have to visualize that like the bottom part is like a pocket, and you would create like a blue pocket for when you're going to have your big power turn. That would be like 6 cards or 8 cards on either side, because if you decided not to draw, the pocket would move up, so you need blue cards to cover it. And if you drew like 2 cards from like an Art of War, you need a pocket of blues below it, so you could continue to still draw blue cards. So that was like how you would visualize it in your head when you're creating like the part of the stack. But with like Gravy, since you operate the top card of your deck, it's quite often important to, like what you said, create a signpost, but then you have to actually know where those power cards are. So what I don't see Gravies do, and they will be, you should actually count your deck when you patch like important cards. If you're like actually trying to play in this type of style, until you get familiar enough with just like, some people can do it on feel. I can do it on feel most of the time because of like chain, but for the most part, you should just count your deck. There's no shame in just like counting your deck out and being like, okay, 39 cards down is that conch that I pitched. And then just like doing the math backwards every time you draw a card. You just minus out of the 39. You just hold 39 in your head, and then you'll draw 4, you'll go to 35, then you'll draw another card, and you'll go to 34. And you just do that, and you know exactly where the conch is if that card is that important to your next stack. But no one, like people don't count, so they're just kind of guessing a little bit, or they're using the signpost. It's like another good way to check where you're at. 3 cards below the eye is the conch. It's a good memory.
Yeah, Mind Palace
And
definitely works too, if you want to do the full method. Yeah, I was just gonna add that in the context of like playing into fatigue decks, pitch stacking to beat those, it's more about understanding what cards matter, or like what cards you need to win those matchups. This is things like action point generators, things that give go again, or like attack reacts. So it's more about just knowing what you're sending to second cycle, so that you know like when, at what point that you'll have access to those resources, but then also what your end game looks like. So like knowing what damage you can output then tells you how many of your resources you can use early. For example, like maybe you'll have a snaps line that lets you leak 5 damage, but it costs you your snaps. If you know that you have like 2 tarantula toxins on the bottom of your deck, like you can probably take that line because they're going to eat a ton at that late turn. So it's more about just knowing which important resources are in the pitch stack than knowing the order.
I try to also, in like deck building, also kind of almost signpost cards where I'm like, these are the cards, like the specific blues that I'm trying to put back in the deck for later. So that way I don't necessarily need to sit there thinking about like how many action points are necessarily in my deck. I just know when I see a Vast Yi, I'm probably trying to pitch that card if I have the option to, because that's much better later on than it is right now. It doesn't really do anything for me right now other than on hit make a gold. I'm not using the action point for anything. But later, when I have some gold kisses in play, my opponent's starting to get low, this shit's gas. So I'm gonna like really purposefully have blues in my deck that the intention is to put them back for second cycle.
Yeah, Wu was really good at this in the Pro Tour. You would quite often see him when he had choices between blues to go in like from chart. Like he would chart double blue. He'd look at his blues and he'd be like, tipple to here or this attack to here, and he's playing the mirror, and you can see him like pick his graveyard up, and he's like checking to see if he has another tipple. Because like if he has more tipple, if he already has a tipple in here, is good. If he has no tipples in the grave, then he can put the attack back to like keep more attacks in the deck to be able to play the mirror better. And it's like you could see him do that several times in a lot of games, and that's what's happening there. Is you're looking at a card and you're deciding if you need this for later, or if you can afford to let it go in your graveyard. That's like combining everything that we all said is like the most important part. It just has to be there. It doesn't matter the order at that point.
Yeah, I think on the reaction front, the biggest thing is that you're trying to like outlast your opponent's D-reacts so that those reactions actually like realize their value, their like damage.
True. That's a good point as well. Well, with that, I think we're out. See you.